Well, let's see how all of this plays out by looking at some simple demos for MVC. In this demonstration, we're going to create a website, which is going to be done by creating a new project in Visual Studio. We are going to examine the project structure, what makes it unique for MVC, and then we're going to view a page and see how the URLs play a role in finding those pages. In Visual Studio 2015, I'm going to create a new project. Notice in the left view, Web is selected, ASP.NET Web Application is my selected template, and I'm going to name this down below Demo MVC, and I'll click OK. In choosing my templates, I will choose MVC as my template. I will keep MVC selected down here. Note that I could add web forms to this MVC project. I could also add the Web API. I can also add unit tests. However, I'm going to keep it the way it is, and I'm not going to host it in the cloud, and I'll click OK. Now that my project is created, if I scroll down just a little bit in my project, I could see that the key folders that are really differentiators for MVC are the models, the views, and the controllers. Beginning with controllers, let's take a look at the home controller. When I scroll down to the home controller, I'll notice that it has three main actions: an index, an about, and contact. If I wanted to reference this in the URL, I could go to whatever the site will be called, /home/index. Now I could use that same pattern down here, with the difference being, of course, that I would be calling about for this action, and for contact, I would be calling contact. So that's an easy way to visualize how you would get to each one of these actions in the browser. In other words, if I call the home controller and request the about page, then it will go to this code file, go to this about method, perform whatever processing it does in here, and by returning the view, it's going to return the view that's associated with this action. I can find out what that is right now through the power of Visual Studio by right-clicking and choosing Go to View. When I do that, it takes me to this About view, which is called about.cshtml, and this is how the About page is going to look. I can also navigate back by right-clicking and saying Go to Controller, and it takes me right back here. There is a default for index, and we know this because in the global.asax file, in the application start event, which is initialized at the very beginning, there is a route config.register routes, and looking at it in the application start, we could see that this is where the configuration for the default appears. For example, if a controller is not specified in the URL, the default will be home. If an action is not specified, the default will be index. And of course, it's optional to provide that third parameter, which could be used as additional information when processing that particular view. The models folder will contain any content or data that would need to be used within our website. We'll be adding our own model to this in another demo. The views have a relationship with our controllers. We've already seen one way to navigate. Another thing that we can do is look at the fact that each of these controllers under the controllers folder also has a corresponding folder under views. And when I expand home out and look at the home controller in code, we'll also observe that each of the actions in the code file correspond to a view that has been defined and created under the home folder. This is all part of MVC convention, and the naming really does matter. If I want to view a page in the site right now, I can go to the top and start debugging. The site compiled to a single DLL, and now it's ready for me to view. And we could see the MVC site is working within the browser. If I go to the top and I want to specifically go to the home controller, I can type home and hit enter, and it's the same page. If I want to see the about page, I can also add about, hit enter, and now I'm at the about page. Of course, clicking any of these links will take us specifically to the corresponding controller/action that it is configured to do.